All right, thanks everybody for joining us this afternoon. It's a pretty big day for the Aces. Apologies for the delay. We've got so many of you that as I was trying to fish through here and find the folks who are on the call from our end, I was having some difficulty, but I think we've got everybody now. So let me go ahead and let you know who you will be hearing from today. First of all, our team president, Nikki Fargas. She is entering her third season with the Las Vegas Aces. Then we have our general manager, Natalie Williams, who is entering her second year with the team. And then we've got head coach Becky Hammon joining us from Minnesota at USA Basketball, and she is in her second year with the franchise. And then, of course, joining us from Atlanta, Candace Parker, doing some her many side hustles out with TNT, two-time MVP, two-time WNBA champion, and a list of accomplishments a mile long that you guys are all already very well familiar with. So we're going to introduce each of these ladies again, hear from each of them, and then we will open things to questions and answers. Just a note, we do have some folks who have some hard outs at the back end of this, so try and be brief with your questions. Let's get things started, though, with the president of the Las Vegas Aces. That is Nikki Fargas. Nikki.
Hello, all. Just really appreciate you joining us today in celebrating what the Aces call a huge victory in the signing of Candace Parker. And I just want to mention, too, that we're excited about how we've been able to fill out our roster, not only with the Hall of Famer, Candace Parker, but also with Alicia Clark, Kayla George, and the re-signing of Kia Stokes in an effort to contend for a championship. Here as the Las Vegas Aces, we do make sure, and we will always continue to make sure that our players and their families will always be in the forefront of who we are as a franchise. We're going to always be supportive of our players in that regard, and we will always demonstrate that we will act accordingly when you are discussing any situations surrounding the well-being of our athletes. And I will say this too: all decisions that we've made to assemble this team by the front office, and we are here to assemble the best team possible. And when putting together a team, there are times when trades will happen, but that's for us to also remain competitive. And the moves we've made, obviously, this season has given us the flexibility we needed to sign the players that I mentioned earlier, with the Candace Parkers and Alicia Clark and Kayla George, and the re-signing of Kia Stokes. So again, we're extremely excited about the Aces, the future of the Aces, and where this organization is headed.
Thank you very much, Nikki. Now let's turn it over to the architect, Natalie Williams, general manager, once again in her second season with the Aces. Natalie, why don't you take us through a little bit of what it was like for you to make the calls to Candace and her people, and how excited you are to have her on board.
Hi, everybody. I first have to say, I'm just so excited to have Candace a part of the Aces. The biggest thing when we looked at free agency this year and looking at all the great players that were available, we just felt like Candace was the absolute perfect fit. Not only is she a first-class athlete and person, she's a future Hall of Famer, but just the character she brings and the leadership that she brings to teams, her high basketball IQ. I mean, Candace on the basketball court can probably play 1 through 5, and she'll help us in so many areas, be able to stretch the floor. And so, we felt that in order for us to have an opportunity to defend our championship, that Candace was where we needed to go as one of our big time pieces. And so, I've already been talking to her. I'm excited that my youngest daughter's 13. And so her and her daughter Layla can hang out this summer. But in regards to basketball, I mean, this is a huge get for the Aces, and we're super excited.
Thank you very much, Natalie. Now let's bring in from Minnesota. Natalie, your work is done for free agency. Now the The issue for Becky is how do you put all these great players together on the court? Becky, if you would, talk to us a little bit about that, the excitement of adding a Candace Parker, and what are we going to see from the Aces this year on the floor? Well, we got to get your mic unmuted.
There. All right.
There we go.
If you haven't noticed, I'm the one with technical difficulties all the time. So obviously, first of all, it's, just on a personal note, it's nice to actually be on her team instead of having to play against her or coach against her. It's going to be nice to have her in the same color jersey. And, going into the offseason, looking at the pieces that we felt like we needed to fill in order to defend our title, she fits the piece. Obviously, her skills, her mind for the game, her passing. I mean, she does everything. So to be able to add not just her championship culture and mentality that she brings in, but also the human aspect of it, I'm super excited to bring her in and have her in our locker room and get to work. When you talk about how I'm going to use her, I'm going to use all her skills. So she's going to be, doing it. We'll do some inside out stuff. But mostly I want to provide just some basic structure for her to go out and with her teammates and be successful and be the greatest team that we can put on the floor. I said this going in, I want to be one of the best offensive teams that women's basketball has ever seen. And so adding her to the mix of what we already have, I think we have a great opportunity to put a really exciting basketball team out on the court.
All right. Thanks a lot, Becky. We will now turn things over to the assembled media. Please, if you would, raise your hands virtually. And I know that sometimes you're not able to raise your hands in these chats. Feel free to jump into the chat and let me know if you have a question. Annie, with Chicago, I did want to give you the first opportunity if you've got a question, and then also let folks know as you introduce yourself or as you ask your question, please introduce yourself. Let us know who you are and what outlet you're representing so that Candace can get to know the Las Vegas media and we can get to know some of you national media who might be joining us for the first time.
What's up, Candace? How you doing?
Good, Annie. Great to see you.
Good to see you too. So yeah, I have some questions for you, a couple I'll throw out there, but I know Chicago was obviously a significant contender in your free agency decision. So I'm curious when that alignment shifted to Vegas. And obviously you mentioned your family, but I'm just more curious about when that kind of shift took place and Vegas really pulled away.
Well, first and foremost, I'd like to thank Chicago. I think just being able to come back there and experience the things that we were able to experience over the last 2 years was super special and important for my family. Layla has sacrificed for me over her 13 years, being yanked in and out of school, going to school in Russia, going to China, being in and out in Istanbul, Turkey, mom flying back and forth to Atlanta. And she starts high school next year. And when I close my eyes, I always envision myself in the bleachers and picking her up from school and doing those things. And so being close to her, where she didn't have to center her entire life around what her mom is doing all the time, especially entering into high school, was an important thing. And I made this list before I started the free agency process. And so when I started going down to the list of, competing, playing for an amazing organization and being close to, Los Angeles, where my family is, it just kept landing on this. And as big as I was on relationships in Chicago, it kind of centered around that in Vegas as well. My wife played for the Russian national team alongside Becky Hammon, so I got to know her there and through my wife. And Chelsea Gray's got her and her wife are godparents of our son Air. Nikki Caldwell will always be Nikki Caldwell, but I guess it's Nikki Fargas now. She recruited me at Tennessee. So as I started having those conversations, I just started thinking more about what I wanted and what my family wanted. And that's how we ended up on the decision to be in Vegas. And I'm very excited to be a part of that organization. And to be able to learn and evolve and grow with, some of the best players in the game.
And then just a quick follow-up, what advice did you have for Kalia in your exit? Because obviously, you, Sloot, and Allie have handed the keys over to her to lead this organization forward.
I initially, because to me, it's first and foremost is relationships. And I think that's the center of the universe that I operate on. And I just wanted her to know that, yes, from a basketball standpoint, you have the keys and you have the keys and the skills to continue to be great in Chicago and to lead this franchise. But from a friendship perspective, like, this isn't conditional. So I'm still here. I want to still be a part of your life. We still talk. We still FaceTime since then. I'm going to be here. And, my love for her and what she has done and what she means to our family is endless. And it's not conditional on what jersey I wear.
I appreciate it, Candace. Thank you.
No problem. Thank you, Annie.
And my apologies, Candace, you are the ultimate professional. You pivoted incredibly well because I did not give you the opportunity to make an opening statement, but I feel like you said a lot of what you were going to say. Still early in the year for me. Is there anything else you'd like to say as an opening statement before we go back to the questions?
No, I just think I want to reiterate how excited I am to join Las Vegas, the Las Vegas Aces. And in terms of just from a basketball standpoint, it meets all my needs. And then also from a family standpoint, it meets all of my needs. And, in terms of my family being super excited to be on the court, but then also be surrounded by people that we love and family and things like that. So extremely excited to be coached by Becky Hammon, and obviously within the front office, putting together an amazing team. I'm so excited to lace it up with everyone, all my teammates, and the new signings as well. Alicia Clark has been a player that I have respected for an extremely long time, along with Kia Stokes and Kayla George. And so I just think being a part of that locker room is going to help me grow on the court, but then also off the court as well.
All right, Doug Feinberg.
Hey, Ace, good to see you. Congratulations.
Good to see you. Thank you.
I got one for you and one for Becky. Just, they're sort of related. Candace, how do you see yourself fitting in a team that just won a title and obviously has a really good group coming back? And Becky, sort of the same thing. How do you fit Candace into a group that obviously is really good and just won a title last year for you?
I think the first thing is just in terms of the evolution of what's needed game to game. And I think a part of what I want to bring is like to fill that need, if it's defensive rebounding, if it's, facilitating, if it's playmaking, if it's scoring, like whatever it is game to game. And I think as an opponent, I saw that last year with the Aces as well, where there were games where Jackie Young was unstoppable and they fed her. And there were games where Kelsey was unstoppable and they fed her, and Chelsea, and down the line, Asia, Raquana. Like, I think we forget about how many moments there are in a game. And so I think just from a playmaking standpoint, whether it's finishing it, whether it's slipping a screen to get a teammate open for a three, I'm really excited to continue to do that, but then also explore the chemistry element of learning like what people like and stuff like that, and help as much as I can and grow. Obviously, Becky said she hated playing. I hated playing against her as well. So I'm excited to learn and be in the huddle and see the different wrinkles that she does. Because as an opponent, I noticed the things she drew up on the board and how amazing she is at putting players in different positions. So listen, I'm here to do and fill whatever role I can.
Yeah. So I guess to answer your question, Doug, this is a great problem to have. Too many great players. But I see Candace as somebody, when I was watching her, actually, when they were making their run in Chicago in the championship year, and really, Candace has always been about winning. And I think that's the one thing that stands out to me about her career. Everywhere she's gone, she's won. And so to add her into our locker room, I'm excited to learn from her. I'm somebody who believes in trusting the players. They're the ones out there, they can feel it. So if she sees something, and as we were going through free agency, I was like, ask Chelsea. There's times where me and her might make a call, and I'm like, listen to Chelsea. Chelsea's voice overrides mine. In certain situations, there might be times where I see something specific that I specifically want to run, but more importantly, as an overall concept, I want to empower the players to be who they are, give them a little structure, but I want the ultimate freedom out there. I think freedom is the thing that empowers people the most and really starts to cultivate excellence. And so when I think of Candace, I think of excellence. And so not only am I excited to get her with our group, because as we're going through this process, to me, one of the separation factors for our team last year was chemistry. We have fun. We work our butts off, but we have fun. We empower each other. We hold each other accountable. And so to bring her into that mix, I think only obviously excels and pushes up the whole group. But I'm excited for Asia to play with Candace, because I know Candace is going to be out there and she might see something. Hey, Asia, let's do this next time. And their chemistry and how that evolves. They're going to be iron sharpens iron out there. And on down the line, whether that be, with Plum. I think Plum's going to get more layups than she's ever had in her whole career, because you have to chase her over the top. And if she keeps going, Candace is somebody who can find her at the rim with her passing. So there's so many different moving parts. But like I said, it's kind of a no-brainer to go after Candace and kind of share with her how I see her fitting in. But like I said, I think we're going to put a great brand of basketball out there, and she's somebody who I look forward to learning from. But more importantly, I'm excited to get her with our group, because I think we have not only are they great basketball players, they're competitive as heck. And I know if there's one thing Candace is, it's competitive. And so she's going to enjoy that environment. And like I said, iron sharpens iron, and we're looking forward to getting going with her, laced up with us.
Thanks to both of you.
So a couple of you have asked about recordings of this, and we will post the recordings on our shared drive. I will send out that link to everybody. If you're not on my normal distribution list, please reach out to me at jmaxwell@lasvegasaces.com, and I'll get you hooked up with that. Next up from the media throngs, TC Martin, the voice of the Aces, play-by-play announcer.
Hey, Candace, very glad to see you in this role here. You talked a lot about the reasons why you chose Vegas. I was very curious about what was your impression or thoughts as a competitor competing against these teams, the Aces teams over the last few years, and now thoughts about joining them.
That is an amazing question. Obviously it's a headache competing against the Aces, just in terms of the amount of firepower, but I think it's also the placement and the spacing that they're able to have on the court, which makes everybody else better. And so as an opponent, you almost have to pick what you want to beat you and try to stop it. But then the way they space the floor, sometimes that doesn't work either. And I love the reads and, the different style now that I'm wearing the jersey. But when I was defending against it, the reads were very hard to scout against. So, I think in terms of just from game to game, depending on, the defense and things like that, I think they do a great job of, feeding what the defense gives them and being okay with it and making reads. And I think anytime you have players that are able to do that and do different things, playmaking as well as creating shots for themselves, I think it's a fun thing to watch and, as a fan, but it's a terrible thing to play against. So I've been extremely impressed in the evolution of everybody's game from the start of the season to, even now. And so I just am looking forward to joining that.
Follow up and last thing for you. When you look at this team, you see all the superstars that are there and it coming out of a championship, and you've always been that leader of your team, but you've been also you have familiarity with these players, but you played with them as well, like on Team USA. Does this kind of resemble maybe like playing with Team USA with all these great players here? And how do you see your game fitting in with that?
Well, I don't know about Team USA. We'll say All-Star. I don't know if
Right.
I'm going to say Team USA just because, But yeah, I think that, more so than, the talented players, which I think we all have, I think it's the personalities and the purpose. When you go and you're playing in a setting with other All-Stars, you're learning, you're evolving, you're growing, but you're encouraged to continue to be you. And I think that that's what it, the culture and the environment is like. You don't want to not, you don't want Asia to not be Asia, or Kelsey to not be Kelsey, or Chelsea to not be, or Jackie down the line. You don't want me to come in and not be me. I think it's encouraged, but within making everybody else better. And so I think, in whatever setting you're going into, leaving wanting to win as the single goal, being competitive and making each other better. And you see that. And so I think you see that in an all-star setting, you see that in, a USA basketball setting. And I hope that you see it this summer in Vegas.
All right, let's take it out to Tennessee. Maria?
Maria Cornelius with Go Vols 247, Tennessee Sports. Candace, when I saw that you were going in free agency, of course, I figured you'd stay with your hometown of Chicago or go full circle and go back to LA. And then the Aces entered the picture. And like you, Caldwell, that's what Pat Summitt called her. Her name is Caldwell. I thought, this has legs. This may be a done deal. What kind of impact did Nikki being there already have on your decision? And if Nikki wants to jump in too, that's fine.
Well, for those that don't know, Nikki Fargas now recruited me at Tennessee. And to be honest with you, she was the main reason at the time that I went to the University of Tennessee. I think in terms of what was brought to the table, she lays out the facts and she lays out the certainty of what the situation is. And she's very persuasive in that way, as Maria knows. But I believe in the full circle. Nikki and I, after Tennessee, she got the head coaching job at UCLA, and we lived in the same community. She visited Layla when I had her in the hospital. She actually was one of the few people that babysat Layla when she was a baby. And I'm a big relationship person. And so I think hearing it from her and how the organization was run, and Mark Davis and his support for women's sports, which is super important to me, from top to bottom, just Natalie, Becky, you go down the line, and, obviously having Chelsea there as well. So I think that was, what laid it out and what made it an easier decision, and what made it something that, my family and I would really consider.
Nikki, would you like to jump in and
Well,
talk from your perspective?
She's all right as a basketball player. No, Candace has always been family. And so I'm in a unique chair, so to speak, having spent 25 years at the collegiate level and being able to see a Candace Parker when she was 13 years old, and to see her evolve to the beautiful soul she is today. And she's such a winner, not just by the championships, but more importantly in how she treats people. She treats people with respect. We still live by the definite dozen, Candace. And so Cornelia, you'll get a kick out of that. We still talk about those things, but there's, I shared with Candace, Pat Summitt was very dear to us and very special to us. For so many of us, there's 161 of us who played for her. And so there's a common bond there. It's just like once a Lady Vol, always a Lady Vol, once an ace, always an ace. It's been very important for us to identify those who have paved the way, the Becky Hammons, the Natalie Williams, the Jennifer Azies, to bring them back into the fold in leadership roles. That's important to Mark Davis, our owner. But more importantly, Candace saw that what we're doing as the ACES organization is here to not only better our team and our roster, but better this league. We're going to continue to be champions for these women. And we're going to continue to support these women. And we're going to continue to bring in the likes of Candace Parkers and the Chelsea Grays and the Asia Wilsons. And, one day too, they may be sitting in this spot, in this chair. And to be able to have Candace Parker be a part, knowing that this was a tough decision for her, but a decision that she did not make lightly. And she considered all the angles. She considered everything and weighed them. I was about to send her a multiple choice, and that's an insider, but she realized that, there's something special with a Becky Hammon. I said to her, she's got this little Pat Summitt in her. And I think I've shared that with Becky too. And I like that Candace decided to be a part of what's really special here. And we're so excited for her and this team and what they're capable of doing.
Nikki, quick follow-up. Can you explain the multiple choice?
Yeah, so when Candace was trying to make a decision in college, she had like 4 schools. And so I just took like the questions that were important to her and I put them in multiple choice form. And then she had to pick, the school. So it was either Tennessee or that other school, Maryland, and just really made her focus in on what she wanted and which school mapped or which institution matched and mirrored and could deliver what her goals were in life. And I think Tennessee and Pat Summitt and her teammates and the institution definitely delivered.
So if you want to know who we're going to target in free agency in the future, we should check your babysitting money to see who else might have been lining your pockets 13 years ago to get a little leg up. All right, let's go to Andy Yamashita, the beat reporter from the Las Vegas Review-Journal. Andy?
Hi, Candace. Andy Yamashita, Las Vegas Review-Journal. Asia's talked a lot about her admiration for you. Oh, whoops. Yeah, okay, I'm unmuted, my bad. Just what's kind of been your relationship with her, especially since you made the announcement that you're coming to Las Vegas?
Well, first, Asia has been, so I actually went to Tennessee when Asia was going to the University of Tennessee. It was either for her official visit or an unofficial visit. I don't remember, but I came to Tennessee and I met Asia when she was still in high school with her parents. Obviously followed her extremely close in South Carolina and then on to the WNBA. Just watching her game grow, but then also her, as a person and as a human and her growing into herself. And it's just been so amazing. And a lot of the sound bites that have played now, I never heard. And so I think I was blown away at the All-Star game that she picked me first. I remember getting out of my game because we were playing at the same time, and just the amount of respect that I have for her, and how much time and energy she continues to put into her craft. And so I think just in this role as the big sister, or whatever it is from afar, like watching her grow and be successful at every level. And then just blown away by some of the sound bites that have come up. I'm excited to play with her and not have to figure out how we're going to guard her. I'm excited to learn from her and to grow with her, but I'm also excited to get her the ball. Like, I'm excited to figure out how she likes it, like where she wants it. And I'm just excited to have her as a target when I'm playmaking. I think it's going to be amazing. I think we're going to make each other better and learn and grow. So I'm so excited to get started.
Definitely. And then real quick for Nikki, following the Hamby trade, the WNBA.
Sorry, Andy, sorry. Nikki had a 12:30 call she had to bail on, so I apologize that she's not able to answer what your question, but if you will, hit me up and we'll see if we can't get you some time in front of her. And we do unfortunately have to close things out. Last question with Mr. Duncan, the basketball news.
Hi, Candace. I had one for Candace and one for Becky, if that's okay.
Perfect.
For Becky, you mentioned how dynamic you want the offense to be with the inclusion of Candace. Defensively, Vegas cycled through multiple defensive coverages last year, and Candace is one of the most coverage versatile bigs the league has seen, in my opinion. What do you think is going to go, or what will go into finding like a base coverage defensively with her and Asia playing together?
Well, we have obviously a pretty good base already in play. So we always have our foundational, system. That being said, I told Candace, I'm not somebody who, like, if we're getting our heads pounded in a certain coverage, like, I'm not going to stay in it. We're going to switch it up. We switch up defenses frequently. But I'm glad you brought it up because we've been talking a lot offensively. These two back next to the rim, defensively, it wasn't too many years ago, Candace was Defensive Player of the Year. And so having her length, and her brain, and I think I can't underestimate how excited I am to get inside her brain and to see her brain operate both offensively and defensively. But we switch up a lot of coverages. I'm sure there's going to be some things that we can do even more so with her on the court, both defensively and offensively. I mean, she just does so many things well. It's nice. It's like I said, it's a great luxury to have, to be able to tinker with all these different things that you can do. But we have a system in place defensively. I can't wait to get her up to speed, because I think we play some fun defenses, to say the least. We're not afraid to junk it up and mix things up a little bit. And I think that's fun. I think it's intriguing instead of doing the same thing and being maniacal about it all the time. I think it's a way to engage the players, empower the players. And like I said, there's times where they're calling special defenses on their own. I'm not even doing it. They liked it. They want to stay in it. And I give them the freedoms to do so. So having her out there defensively, obviously, whenever you have bigs that can kind of quarterback Draymond Green the whole game in a way where you can just talk and they see everything, it just makes everybody else's jobs that much easier.
Got you. And for Candace, when moving to a new team, I imagine there's a level of like film prep that you do to kind of get acquainted with the players that you haven't played with before. What has that process been like for you, and how have you balanced that with everything you're doing with TNT and stuff?
Well, first of all, sick shirt. I love that KG shirt. I have that. Second of all, yeah, I've already started watching film. Started with our games, which is painful because we didn't have a winning record against Vegas. So started with the Chicago Sky and like how we played them and like what they liked, what they were successful at. Obviously coverages. I'm a big, like she said, the junk it up zone. I was something that I think Vegas did extremely well last year was, make teams slow down and kind of think about their offense instead of be free flowing. But obviously I've looked at their offenses and what they run, the slip screens and stuff like that. I think is cool. And then also being able to recognize some of the stuff that they do with some of the games that I'm covering. Obviously Boston runs a lot of amazing sets, and, some of those sets, they're eerily similar coming off of that. And so being able to see like what personnel would go in there, but then also reads and just learning everybody, learning what Chelsea likes and learning what Kelsey likes. And I think from my standpoint, learning how I can be effective in their offense and make everybody else better and stuff like that. So I'm excited to learn from Becky. I'm excited to learn every time I'm on television. I'm always watching and writing down like plays and things like that and what players are doing. So I think, being able to watch basketball for a living has its advantages. So I rambled, but yeah, I'm very excited about, watching and learning and seeing what I can do to help them.
Thank you.
Well, thank you, Candace, Becky, Natalie, Nikki. Appreciate you and all the media joining us today. Candace will be in town, of course, starting in training camp and throughout the season. So you guys will get a lot more time to hang out with her. Thanks again for joining us. Again, this will be up on our shared server, and I will email that link out. If you do not have access to my normal distribution list, please send me your email address at jmaxwell@lasvegasaces.com, and we will get this out to you as soon as we have it downloaded and uploaded. Thanks a lot, everybody.